This show may contain adult language and themes. Listener discretion is advised. With that out of the way, let's start the show. You're listening to the Murder is My Sign podcast, the only true crime astrology podcast, and I'm your host, Jordy Death, here to let your way through the true crime astrology storm. And this is our monthly Side Slice episode. And honestly, guys, usually I do this at the end of the month, but with what's been going on, I figured I would take a brief pause in the Hillside Strangler stuff and record this episode with Kyle because we just finished watching World War Z, which I think is an excellent movie.
I really liked it. I haven't seen it in a number of years. I think I saw it the first time right around the time it came out.
Yeah, it came out in like 2013, I think. And
I've seen the unrated one, which is different. I don't remember what's different about it, but it is different.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that there was an unrated one. I guess in light of recent events that's been going on with the coronavirus and COVID-19, a lot of cities, a lot of countries going on quarantine, shelter in place. I just saw something on the news saying California, the governor just said to shelter in place. Right now in Wisconsin, we haven't quite gotten that far, but we're still at the no more than 10 people, keep a 6-foot distance from everyone, and that's basically it. Have you seen any changes in your job right now?
Yeah, I work in a pharmacy, so quite, yes.
So to say you would be busy is an understatement.
Yes. And our delivery company... company that delivers medications for us.
Yeah.
They instituted a strict no more than 10 people in the room policy.
Sure.
However, it's a warehouse.
Sure. And
it's our building, and they're trying to impose their regulations on us, but the problem is that they don't clean, they don't sanitize or clean anything. And, they just, when some of the drivers leave, other drivers are just waiting right outside waiting right outside the door to come in right after them. So there's really it's sort of a moot point. It's very interesting to watch.
Well, interesting. I would imagine with the warehouse though, you would have more space that you can kind of spread out, hopefully.
Well, no, because the section that they're in is chain linked off, and you need passcode cards to get through because it's a pharmacy, so they just don't want anybody walking through.
That's, go figure. That's fair.
So they're just chained into a little corner. But it's, at the same time, it's
yeah, interesting.
It's you work for us, so you don't tell me what to do, lady.
Sure. I know at my job, I just work at a bookstore, but we've closed our doors to the public from now until at least the 31st. We're staffing the store from 10 to 6 and then just answering the phone, taking orders, still fulfilling orders online. And if people want to purchase their stuff over the phone, their credit card, they can drive on up and kind of do a drive-through type thing. Which is honestly kind of ironic because I know, for the longest time, a lot of us were saying, man, if only we could just shut down the store for, 48 hours and just shelve and price. And here we are, we're basically essentially getting our wish. So we're just all shelving and pricing and just cleaning up. And we have these different projects that we're all working on. We get to listen to our own music and stuff, which is really great. I really enjoy it. And we can also take pretty much as much vacation time as we want during this time. So it's really nice because I was able to take the weekend off, which usually is unheard of. But yeah, so watching, I know what was a couple of days ago, we watched the movie Outbreak.
It's just funny that that's what popped up in popularity. Well, it's not funny. It makes perfect sense.
Right.
That's what popped up in popularity.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a good movie. I mean, it's not a scientifically accurate movie.
No, not at all.
It's a great... I love that movie. Even when I was a kid, I loved that movie.
Yeah, and same thing with World War Z. I think, honestly, out of, like, all the zombie movies I've watched, because I do love zombies. I mean, I have a zombie tattoo on my leg. I think World War Z, I think, after watching it again, by far one of my favorite zombie movies.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's up there in terms of quality and the way that it was done. It's clear that they spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. I like cheesy, though, like Resident Evil, the first one.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, Warm Bodies, ironically, was really, really good, too.
What's that?
Warm Bodies? Oh, okay, so it's like a zombie movie, but it's like a love story type thing.
Oh, God, I already hate it.
But it's based on a book. I haven't read the book yet, though. But it's really cute. Like, this zombie is kind of, like, self-aware, and he sees this beautiful girl, go fucking figure, and then starts kind of becoming more humanized as he hangs out with her. I don't know, I'm not doing a really good job explaining it, but I personally really liked it. I thought it was very, very cute.
I was always more of a Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead.
Sure. I remember watching, what was it, Day of the Dead, like the original 70s one when they're in the mall?
Yes. No, that's Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
No, Day of the Dead, if I remember right, Day of the Dead is underground in a military scientist bunker underground.
Day of the Dead. Yeah, it must be Dawn of the Dead then, in the mall.
I believe Dawn of the Dead is the one that's in the mall.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In Milwaukee.
I completely forgot about that. Man, I don't even think I own that movie anymore.
Do you ever watch the remake?
No, I haven't.
They're talking about, like, oh, this is Milwaukee, oh, we're on Lake Michigan, and it's clearly fucking Southern California.
Don't insult us like that, Hollywood. Come on, if you're gonna say it's Milwaukee, fucking film in Milwaukee.
Yeah, like, at the end of the movie, they go out on a boat into Lake Michigan to this random island that's in Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah, because there's random islands in fucking Lake Michigan.
Exactly. Like, there's, like, a little wooden dock and shit. It's cute.
Whatever.
In the remake, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been way too long since I've seen the original. But Day of the Dead has the best scene ever, where, spoilers, the villain, who, I can't remember his name, he's, like, the colonel or the lieutenant that's in charge of the military that still exists in there.
Uh-huh.
He gets cornered in a hallway full of zombies.
Yes.
And they rip him apart, like, from the middle. And as they
start eating
his legs and choke on his intestines, he's like, choke on him! Choke on him!
I remember you showing me that scene on YouTube. Yeah, that's pretty excellent. So yeah, it was kind of eerie watching this movie, especially in the beginning. I'm referring to World War Z now. And just seeing, like, the mass pandemic just spread and then the hysteria. And you had made a comment saying that we're not too far off from that.
Well, I honestly, if you go to the grocery store and you spend any time, it's pretty clear that the rouge, so to speak, like the face covering of society is like millimeters thick, and not a whole hell of a lot could break it. And that, civility is, we're not far off from people just losing their shit.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna take I think we're about a hairbreadth away from completely just losing it. And
I mean, people are hoarding insane amounts of things.
Yeah.
Toilet paper, soup. I've
seen things online, mostly like through Imgur or whatever, about like people going out, and this is before like Costco put limits on stuff, but like hoarding the Clorox wipes and stuff and then reselling them on Amazon, eBay, which, by the way, Amazon has put a kibosh on that. And then I've also heard stories of municipalities, like police, actually going to these people who are hoarding them and then repossessing them. Which I think is fucking brilliant and hilarious, because like it's like, don't be a fucking dick during this time.
How that's legal though.
I'm sure there's some fucking law out there that in cases of national or state emergency they need to reallocate. I don't know. I'm sure it's very thin and flimsy or whatever, but I'm sure it's also teetering close to martial law. I don't know. I really don't know anything about that, but
this is all supposition on our part.
Yeah, this is all supposition, and then just kind of guesstimating and just kind of whatever. But I'm very curious to see what will happen in like the next couple of days, to see if Wisconsin will go on shelter in place. We unfortunately just lost 2 patients who tested positive with the coronavirus. 2 patients have died in Wisconsin. I think we're up to 155 or 157 confirmed cases. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett was in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19, and he is now sheltering in place. So scary. I think the scariest thing, though, is that, like, from what I've been hearing and reading from, like, NPR and the National Institution of Health or whatever, that you can be very asymptomatic. Like, you can still have it and not show any signs from it, which makes it incredibly dangerous. So this is why I'm getting, like, really irritated when people are saying, oh, this isn't that big of a deal or whatever. And I'm like, no, it is an incredibly big deal. It's like a vaccine. Like, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself so you can help the better populace. Yeah. It's not just you selfish asshole. You got to think about the greater purpose here and the greater...
The projected mortality rates for this thing is something like 2% of the population.
Right. But when you think about that, that's still an astronomically big number.
I mean, if that many people are going to die, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Spanish flu or H1N1, I believe, in 1919, killed something like 3.5% of the world.
Right.
So it's like, that was like 50 to 100 million people.
Right.
So 2% of 7 billion people is a lot of fucking people.
Right. So I earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week, when they were having the conference or whatever in Milwaukee County, one of the health organization leaders said that Wisconsin has a population of like 6 million people. If even just on a good note, if even only 1% got sick, that would be 60,000 people? That would be the entire population of like Eau Claire or Stevens Point, actually. That would be the entire population of Stevens Point. And then that's only 1%. They're projecting at least perhaps anywhere between 5 to 7 to 10%, which is fucking scary.
Plus, the whole thing about this is what news is reliable, what news is fake, what news is exaggerated. It's I long for a time when we had facts, when a fact was an actual fact and not something that was just completely open to interpretation.
Right, exactly.
I childishly long for those days. As if it wasn't any more ridiculous than it is now. It's just through the hyper blender of the internet and social media. I've
gone to like listen to just NPR a lot, like when I'm driving to work and stuff, because I trust NPR. I feel like they're pretty unbiased, if not just a little left leaning, which is personally fine with me. I think another really important thing too is this House and Senate just passed that legislation for the unemployment. Yeah. It was a 90-8 vote. 90 yes, 8 no. Fucking Senator Ron Johnson voted no.
Of course.
So fuck you, Ron Johnson.
Yeah, Ron Johnson, who oh god, I don't even want to get started. Let's just cap that, because I have plenty of things to say about Ron Johnson that I'm just not gonna.
And also I should say I usually don't get very political in my podcast. I mean, all the opinions that we share are purely our own. But I just will also say, for like the umpteenth time, it is so important to register to vote, folks. And please, if you can, request an absentee ballot. That is so crucial. And to really do your research, because during this time, even though they're like trying to pass all this stuff for the Unemployment Act and all that stuff, they're also trying to sneak in things under the radar, like things that deal with abortion and like those other kinds of rights. So really make sure that you are still paying attention, kind of filter through. I know everyone's probably really sick of listening to like the COVID-19 stuff, but look up the 8 representatives that voted no, and remember that when it comes to election time, so you can vote their asses out. Because they don't give a fuck about you.
Well, they don't. None of them give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
It's a new form of. It's a new social class. It's a new Congress. Politicians in general. We've allowed them to get away with so much for so long.
Right.
And we've just become Americans. So we've just become so complacent with our place and comfortable with where we are, even though we don't like it, that we just allow them to rob us blind and take advantage of us every which way they can.
Right.
And we do nothing about it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about zombies.
Zombies and... I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand. I've always wondered if there would
The Living Dead? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Living Dead in Madison and in Washington. And
I've always wondered if there would actually be like a legit zombie-like virus that would reanimate the dead. But the more I'm thinking about it...
Rabies is probably as close to a zombification of a person. Like, have you ever seen anybody that has rabies?
I've only seen photos after the fact.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah. I think that was like what they were saying was the cause of the virus in World War Z. Some sort of fast-acting case of
in
Z.
the book, I think it was, they originally thought it was some sort of, well, that's still, like, a lot of zombie movies use rabies as a thing, like, I think what's the one, 28 Days Later? Like, the anger virus. The rage virus.
Yeah.
I want to say rabies had something to do with it.
Probably. That's interesting. I really need to start reading that book. Yeah.
It's a good book. I've never finished it. I read, like, there's books, I'll pick them up, read them all the way through, no problem. And then there are books where I'll get a third of the way through, I'll move on to something else, and then I'll come back to that book, like, a year later, and I'll start it again. Eventually, sometimes I get through it, sometimes I don't. But there's books I've restarted, like, 3 times.
That's weird. Why do you think you can't finish them?
I don't know. I just get bored.
Huh.
Or I move on to a different book, or I find a different book that's better, and I just start reading those.
I'm usually reading like 2 or 3 books at a time. Yeah. I try to do like a fiction.
I try to do one. I try to focus on one.
Sure.
And finish it. But.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I can get to. I definitely have realized that I get tunnel vision a lot on like either my projects or what I'm really passionate at the time, and that definitely kind of boils down to books. Like I'm reading a new J.R. Ward book. Well, it's not new. It's been out for 2 years, but I haven't read it yet. But it's been in my library, my personal library. So I'm reading that now. And then her new book is coming out in 2 weeks. No, next week. Next week. Ooh, that's exciting. Well, I might.
I also read more than one thing.
Yeah.
Comic books don't count though.
No, I mean, I don't know. You'd have to maybe create a Goodreads account to see if you can track that on your yearly goal for Goodreads, I guess, if you wanted to do that. I know you can count manga.
I reread them. Well, those are comic books.
Yeah, basically. So
Japanese comic books. Actually, it's funny you say that because I actually restarted rereading a series today at work because I stuck them in my locker because I knew I was moving. I didn't have a place for it, so I stuck the original Dragon Ball.
Oh,
by
nice.
Akira Toriyama. So
Cool.
I just started rereading that today. I got through the first 3.
Nice. Now, have you read any of the Walking Dead comics? Kind of going back to the whole zombie.
Yes, I had the first 12 when they came out.
Yeah.
Back when the first issue was like limited to like 3,500 copies.
Wow.
And I didn't enjoy it.
Sure.
I bought the first 12 because I was waiting for it to pick up, and for whatever reason, I didn't like it. I couldn't even give you a specific reason why because it's been so many years since I read it. And I sold them at cost like 10 years ago, but now like that first issue is worth like $6,000. So I screwed the pooch on that one.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the market for that one. I remember, so I've never really read them. Kind of a funny story. So
didn't really like the show either.
Okay, so I loved the show when it came out on AMC. I was living in Stevens Point, and I was like super jazzed about it. I made sure I didn't work Sunday evening, so I could go home and then watch it, and then watch the Talking Dead afterwards. It was
you were that level.
I was that level of obsessed.
Oh, and just for clarification, so nobody can say that I don't know what I'm talking about, I watched the entire first season. Okay, I think it's episode 3 is my favorite, where he finds his son and his wife, and she's like, she has that, oh shit, I've been fucking this guy look on her face.
Right.
That's the best that's the best scene in that show.
Yeah.
And then after I think that was it not the WHO, the CDC building explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't care after that.
Sure. I want to say, I mean, because I don't have cable, and I haven't had cable for like the last 5 years since I've been down in Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years for me.
I'm obviously not up to date on it. I watched it on Netflix. Like, I'll binge a season on Netflix, but I haven't even binged this last season. I really like that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is on the show now. I think he's the one who's actually carrying it. He plays Negan.
Is that the guy with the bat?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that guy before.
So I think the biggest pitfall with Walking Dead is that they introduce all these new characters, but they don't give you enough time to actually become like emotionally attached to them because they just kill off everyone so quickly. And they killed off some of my favorite people right away, which kind of pissed me off. Now, when it comes to the comic, God, this must have been 4 or 5 years ago. I met this dude on Tinder or whatever, and we were talking about Walking Dead, and I said I had never read the comics, and then I talked about how I had Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, and now here's where I fucked up. So he lived all the way in Madison, so he came over. This is when I was living in St. Francis, and we swapped comics. So I have the first 3 Walking Deads, like the little mini compendiums, like the tiny little volumes, and then he has, I don't even remember his fucking name. He has my Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, which that shit is out of print and super fucking expensive.
Yeah. And
I found that at Comic-Con or WizardCon in Chicago back in 2012. So I really screwed the pooch on that one, which sucks. Because any of those like horror movie type graphic novels, because I had someone sell like the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre one and the Friday the 13th one, those things are so fucking expensive, like $50-$60.
Oh yeah.
So
crossover ones like that are actually on my list of comics to buy next.
Yeah.
I gotta get Judge Dredd: The Complete Case Files, Volume 30. I think it's 31 and 32.
Yeah.
Or 32 and 33, because I don't remember which one I don't have. And Judge Dredd versus Alien versus Predator.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
And Judge Dredd versus Predator, because they're 2 different series.
Nice.
And let's see. I have the first issue of Mars Attacks, Judge Dredd.
Oh, that's cool. That's ironic, because I just had so I shelved the performing arts section at my store, and I just had a bunch of books on the movie Mars Attacks. Mm-hmm. Which, God, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. Jack Black's in that, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, he plays a soldier, I want to say.
And he has a really shitty haircut.
Well, yeah, and if I remember right, he dies, he gets zapped.
Yeah, he like turns like a red skeleton or something.
There's a lot of people. That was a
stacked movie as far as celebrities go. Sarah Jessica Parker was in it.
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker, Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah. Shit, I wonder if that movie's on Netflix. That'd be a good fucking movie to watch, too.
I don't recall.
Speaking of Netflix, and going with the whole virus thing, the UK had... Yeah, as you cough. Here, patient 0 here, right here in my studio.
I don't know what you're talking about, sweetheart.
I am a monarch. Dr. Girlfriend, have you been contaminated with the COVID-19 virus?
Sure.
Oh, okay. That's as far as we're gonna go with that.
We probably all have been.
Probably, whatever. Anywho, as I was saying, in the UK, they have reached out to Netflix and other streaming services to slow down, and instead of streaming in HD to do standard definition, for fear of basically collapsing or breaking the internet.
Yeah.
So,
I think they agreed to for 30 days or something like that.
Yeah. Which, boy, if everyone's in isolation and the internet breaks, there's going to be a lot of babies come December. Or, other things, I suppose.
Corona Kings.
Coronials.
Look at you and say, my Corona. Name your kid Corona.
God. Middle name Lime.
Juan Sanchez Villalobos Corona.
So, but yeah, I just...
That's a Highlander reference.
Oh, I am not familiar with Highlander at all.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
He plays He plays an Egyptian man who he lives in Spain because they live forever. They're immortal. So like he was born in Egypt like 6,000 years ago, but he's living in Spain now, and his name is Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
Well,
Isn't that nice?
So that's funny. The Scottish guy is playing an Egyptian Spanish guy, and then, you know, the guy he's playing against is, I don't remember where Christopher Lambert's from, but pretending to be a Scottish guy. That must have really pissed Sean Connery off.
I can imagine. Oh, that's
Your accent is terrible.
shock Trebek. So, yeah, is there anything else you want to hit off on this one?
I don't know. Honestly, it's waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
But
just...
I'm oddly for somebody as despondent as I can be. Mm-hmm. Fairly. I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah, I'm really.
As long as I don't, die.
God, yeah, no,
like all these people that are like super paranoid, like assholes, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, there's other people, that would actually, be really fucked up if we got this disease. So why don't you fuck right the hell off?
Right. Well, it's
buy all your ground chuck, asshole, and shove it up your keister. You dumper cunt.
Tell me how you real, Phil. So the strain has been mutating, and there's this study that was just released from the NIH that the virus can live on cardboard for up to 24 hours, and then plastic and stainless steel surfaces for up to 3 days. So...
lovely.
I know, isn't that great? So, folks, if you are listening to this and the infection's still going on, make sure that you are sanitizing everything, washing your hands for at least 20 seconds using hot soapy water. And then also, it wouldn't be a bad idea to fucking wear rubber or latex gloves when you go out, especially if you're like at the gas station pumping your own gas, things like that. So, just be safe. And for the love of God, just be patient and take care of yourself, but be kind to one another. Like, these are really stressful times, and we don't need, fear-mongering. Please, like, if you're posting shit on social media, make sure you're checking it. Make sure it's coming from, like, fucking legitimate sources.
Or, just don't.
Or just don't.
Just delete your social media, because...
it's fucking toxic.
It really is. That's why I've never had one. Except for Reddit. I guess I do Reddit, but whatever.
I don't even count Reddit as social media.
It is, though. I mean, technically, I'm a hypocrite. I would consider Reddit to be social media.
Interesting.
But
I mean,
fuck Facebook, fuck Twitter, fuck Instagram, fuck
sure.
TikTok, Chinese spies.
Seriously,
satellite.
fuck TikTok. If you have TikTok, fucking delete it immediately. Jesus Christ, I'm never gonna fucking get that shit.
Was that TikTok that I read that thing that they were using, like, computer algorithms to, like, remove videos of ugly people, disabled people? Like...
oh, geez, maybe. I've never heard that, but I would absolutely not be surprised.
I want to say they were trying to optimize their platform with beautiful people with stupid things to say.
Ugh.
Stupid things to say.
Well,
so says me.
Yeah. Well, on that note, so yeah, I think that's really all I gotta say. I'm just, man, that movie was just really, really good.
I like it.
Scary in this kind of circumstance with everything that's going on.
That's recency bias. It's because of what we're dealing with that you have a greater emotional connectivity.
Which I think is why the movie is so good, I suppose. Because, I mean, I love the ending of World War Z. It makes me wonder if they'll ever do a second one.
Yeah. Like, if our life was a sitcom,
yeah.
I'd get in a fight with somebody at Meijer, and, like, somebody would be pulling my shoe off and running away, and I'd be like, choke on him! Choke on him!
Yep.
If our TV show is on TGIF or NBC Friday night after Friends.
Oh God,
that would be the scene.
Two people in a. I don't even know what we'd call our TV show. I was gonna kind of do a spoof on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, which Ryan Reynolds was in that. In case you didn't know,
a long time ago.
Yeah, the best thing to come out of Canada since freedom.
No. There's a list of things. Duncan Keith, Jonathan Taze. Need I go on?
Oh, are those hockey players?
Yes, they are.
Of course they are.
Duncan Teeth.
It almost smells like a coffee.
Actually, somebody made shirts 5 or 6 years ago that says "runs on Duncan," and it had a picture of Duncan Keith on it.
Oh, that's funny.
The Chicago highlight and the Chicago flag on it.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
That's cheeky. Anywho, I think this is where we're going to stop for this episode before we get too rambly. I mean, we're going on a half an hour, and I'm going to be doing some very light editing, if anything. Plus, we have to actually record the episode.
It's true. I want to find out what happened to what's his name, Buono, and Don't tell me. He's got 3 names. What's the first name?
Kenneth
Bianchi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah.
Can't believe I couldn't remember that guy's useless person's name.
Yeah. Well, he's rotting in jail somewhere. Anywho.
Oh, he's still alive?
Spoiler alert.
Too bad.
Yeah.
His cousin's probably dead then, right?
We'll get to that in the episode.
See, I have so many more questions than I did last time.
So yeah. Well, depending on how I release these, I actually think I might be releasing the side slice tomorrow, and then we'll still record the actual episode tonight, and I'll just release that the Friday after. Wrap it all up. And then we'll start with April. Get going on that. Yeah. Any idea who we're going to be talking about in April? I'll give you a hint. The event that they're known for took place in April. 1999.
Was it the
Colorado?
Oh, really?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. It has to be done. I borrowed books from work on it, too.
You've ever watched the security footage?
It's fucking terrifying.
It's not fun.
No, it's not. But we're going to talk about it. It's for next month.
It's one of those things that's burned into my head since I was a kid. Since 99.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I was in elementary school when it happened, and it was fucking terrifying.
Let's see, 99. I would have been 14, 15.
Oh God. I would have been 8.
Let's see. I would have been 13.
Yeah. So, anywho, stay tuned to listen to more of us talking about Hillside Strangler and then revealing in detail what we'll be covering in April if you haven't already figured it out. So, thank you guys so much for listening to Murder is My Sign. Please be sure to share this podcast with anyone you can, any way that you can. You can find Murder is My Sign anywhere you get your podcasts, including your favorite podcasting app. You can always follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Jordy Death. That's JORDY Death. Or you can email the show directly at murderismysignpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to go above and beyond and support the show, you can become a boneyard backer or a death head at patreon.com/murderismysign, just like my dear, lovely patrons, Holly, Crystal, Michelle, and Jake. Thank you guys again so much for your patronage. It really means the world to me. So, tune in next week when we continue the series on the Hillside Strangler. I should say when we finish the series, because it's coming to an end. So, until then, folks, take care of yourself. Wash your fucking hands. And each other. Wash your hands and each other, I guess.
Sounds like Alton Brown. Wash those chickeny fingers.
Take care of yourself and each other. And until then, rest in peace.